Hello and welcome back to the Johnny Gets Cash YouTube channel. This is the final part in my series where I'm freshening up this 2003 Mark 1 MG ZS. Now, I bought this car for just £200, but it was a little bit worse for wear. It'd been sitting unused, it was a little bit unloved, and it certainly didn't look very nice. I've spent a lot of time trying to make this thing look as good as it does now and also be ready for a new life with a new owner, and that included a full service, etc. Anyway, what I want to do now is give you a little walk around of the car and show you what it looks like, show you inside as well, the bits that have been done there, and also explain what's going to happen next in terms of selling the car. Now, spoiler alert, this was reserved, but this car is now available. So if you want to find out what I'm asking for it and how you can go about getting in touch with me if you're interested in buying it, keep watching the video and I will cover that towards the end. Anyway, I'll show you around the car now and hopefully you enjoy. Right then guys, here she is back from MOT, and I'm very pleased to report that that MOT was completely advisory free, which is exactly what we want to see. So not only does this car look fantastic, basically it looks almost brand new, but it's got a very good clean bill of health for the next 12 months. Now obviously if you've been following this series so far, you'll see the amount of work that's gone into this in terms of servicing and making it look a little bit smarter. But if you haven't, let me just recap you very quickly. I paid £200 for this 2003 MG ZS, and it wasn't a bad car. It's only done 56,000 miles, but it had been left unused for over a year. So it was a little bit mouldy, a little bit green. It didn't smell great, but it wasn't horrendous. It'd been forgotten about, put it that way. Now, the bodywork, whereas there was a few little marks, which I said I wasn't going to do from the start, it wasn't in horrendous condition, but it was very dull, and as I say, forgotten about. So, outside it's had a complete paint correction. It's had a few little spots of paintwork on the bumpers here and there just to make it better than it was. It's by no means perfect, it's not a concours car, but it is much better than it was, and I think looking at it now, it's probably one of the better examples you're going to see on the road today. Now, aside from that paintwork, it's had new badges all the way around because the old ones, they were all faded and starting to peel, so it's got brand new enamel badges. Also, a new tailpipe, because the old one, whereas it wasn't blowing or rusted through, it was rusty to look at, it wasn't pretty, so that was changed. On top of that, the wheels have had a complete refurb all the way around, and as mentioned before, I am staggered how well these have come up. They look basically brand new. Now, it's got new emblems on the centre caps, and you saw me respray the centre cap plates just to make it all match and look as good as possible. The tyres that were on the car are actually in fine condition. They're the same tyres that this car came with. They're absolutely fine. Clearly they've been through an MOT as well. They are in perfect condition, so there was no need to change those. So staying on the outside, aside from those little bits and pieces I've just mentioned, just finishing touches like repainting the wiper arms all the way around to make it a little bit fresher. So again, they fade, that's pretty natural, but these have all been refinished in satin black and they look absolutely perfect. The new set of wiper blades were put in at the same time, obviously, just to keep things as proper as they should be. Also outside, you saw me refinish those headlights, so I gave those a clean up, keyed them up and gave them a coat of lacquer, which has made them look brand new. The headlights, again, they work perfectly well, but they just looked a little bit on the older side, so I wanted them to look nice and fresh, and doing that little repair job on the headlights, giving them a coat of lacquer, has really done the trick. So moving inside to the interior of the ZS. Now this wasn't too bad, to be fair. The seats were all in good condition, there was no real damage to them, a little bit of wear on the bolsters, but you know, it's an old car, you kind of expect that. You saw me redo the door cards, they were droopy, so they have been refinished. Now, the thing I wanted to show you was this headliner. It was very difficult to show you on the video where I actually recovered the headliner in this crushed velvet. You can see the effect. It was hard to demonstrate inside the workshop because it was a bit dark and a bit gloomy, but it's a little bit Marmite. I know some of you reacted that you didn't like it, and some people did like it. I think it looks really cool. It kind of suits the interior, you know, the black and grey look, and ultimately it's better than what was there, which was the stained, saggy and pretty disgusting original headliner. So that has been done. As I say, the seats were in fine condition, they just needed a quick clean up, no repairs needed. Since the last episode, the new mats have arrived, so they're all the way through. I've gone for a black with grey trim just to match the theme of the interior. Again, everything else absolutely fine. There wasn't a huge amount to do inside, so it's a pretty much standard MK1 MG ZS, apart from the door cards, which have been recovered in that black carpet, and of course that somewhat divisive headliner. So the next thing to mention is the sale of this car. Now, a lot of you have commented and several of you have messaged me through Instagram to see if the car is available, how much it's going to be, and I've said the same to all of you. From the very early stages of this video series, this car has actually been reserved by a viewer of the channel, which is great news. I was really pleased it's going to one of you guys. So the whole way through I've been working on this car with a view to it's being sold to a viewer. And that was the plan. However, now that the car is finished, it's got its 12 months MOT, I've just had a chat with the guy who was going to buy it, and the situation has changed somewhat, and he is now no longer going to be taking the MG off my hands. So that does mean it's available for sale right now. I haven't advertised it publicly because I want to get this video out first and explain the situation to you guys, and especially to those of you who've bothered to comment and get in touch with me about buying the car. So, as it stands, this car is available for sale. It's a 2003 MG ZS with 56,000 miles. It's just had a brand new MOT put on it, and I'll reiterate that is an advisory free MOT. So that's about as good as we could hope for on a car of this age. It's by no means a concours example. Please don't expect it to be brand spanking new. There's a couple of little bits of body damage which I've said from the start I wasn't going to do. Namely things like these little pin dents. There's a few of those on the car. The finish I was going for, I said in an early episode, I'm not going to go for making a concours car here. I'm not trying to make this brand spanking new. I just want to make it a really nice example. So I think I've achieved that. So I've done a full service on this car. It's had a new cam belt. You'll recall I haven't had the head gasket done on this, although the car will come with an uprated head gasket kit included. The car doesn't need the head gasket doing, and I've taken advice from a lot of you in the comments who clearly know more about these cars than I do, in that if the car isn't exposing symptoms of needing a head gasket change, leave well alone. So I've bridged the gap there by buying the uprated kit, which I'll include with the car, so that if the car ever does need a head gasket, the new owner will have that kit ready to go, so it'll just be a case of paying a garage to do the work. Now, I said I've had the cam belt done, that's been done. It's had the full service, you saw me do that. It's had new brakes all the way around, so that's discs, calipers and pads all the way around. Everything works as it should. There's absolutely no way I can fault this car. It drives so well. I'm actually really impressed with how this thing gets down the road. I've used it a little bit lately, and I've got to be honest, if I didn't have my Subaru Impreza over there as a daily runabout, this would definitely tick my boxes. So for me personally, I've got every faith in the car. I love it, I think it's great, and I think one of you will really enjoy it. So let's get back on track. It is available for sale. What am I going to be asking for this car? Well, originally, in my first ever video I did on this, I think I said I was going to be hoping for something between £2,500 and £3,000, and I think as the project's gone on, costs have spiraled a little bit. I've gone a little bit further than I thought I was going to, mainly because the car warranted spending a bit more on it. For instance, those wheels, I hadn't planned to have those professionally refurbished in the first place, but the rest of the car came up so well, I felt it would have been a real shame to not do those wheels to the same level of finish as the car. So I spent more than I thought I was going to getting those wheels redone. Also putting brand new brakes all the way around. That wasn't part of the plan originally. I was just going to clean up what I had, because they were kind of new, I think, when the car was laid up, but they were just covered in surface rust because lack of use. Anyway, I put brand new brakes on it because I thought that was the safe thing to do, but it did all add to the spend on the car. Full service that was planned for, and obviously the paint correction, that's come out well. A little bit more paint than I thought I was going to need to do. Wasn't a huge amount, but still a little bit more than I thought I was going to do. So, bottom line, what am I going to be asking for this car? At the moment, I'm asking £3,500 for this car. That's with the fresh 12 months MOT. It's ready to go right now. If you're interested in this car, if you think you'd like to purchase it, you can get in touch with me either through my Instagram page, and I'll put the handle for that Instagram on screen now, or if you're not an Instagram user, I will put my email address on screen now also, so you can email me directly with any questions, or if there's anything specific you want to know about the car, I can take specific pictures. Or if you're a long way away and it's going to be a bit of a journey for you, I can do you a bit of a walk around video just explaining things in detail as your requirements. So there we are, that's £3,500 for a 2003 MG ZS, which is, in my opinion, one of the better ones you're going to see on the road, with a fresh 12 months MOT. It would make a fantastic entry-level classic car for someone. It's a usable daily car that you can also take to the odd coffee meet, and I think it's going to be one of the few that you'll see there, which I think is really cool, because you're going to see a lot of hyper expensive cars at these shows, but let's be honest, how many people bothered to keep these old MGs nice and keep them on the road for people to see in the future? And I don't think very many. So anyway, I think I've waffled on enough about that. You know the price, you know what the car is, what's been done to it, and basically what I think about it. So there it is. If you're interested, please get in touch. If not, and you've just been watching the series just for the sake of the car, thank you ever so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed everything I've done to the car, and you've enjoyed watching it come back to life. I've got something else ready to go in its place, something that's come into me that I think has got the potential to be a real beauty, but at the moment it's anything but. But that is for a later episode. So for now, guys, thank you ever so much for watching. If you're interested in the car, I hope to hear from you soon, but if not, I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.